Good morning, Lamar from Prairie Creek Ponds. We're out here in Dallas, Texas, and we are going to be installing a pond. It's a 16 by 16 by 4 foot deep. Wanted to go a little deeper because they get a lot of wildlife through here, bobcats, predators, different things like that. So I'm going to turn you guys around so you can take a look at our job site. All right, so the customer kind of has a pile of stuff that we can incorporate into the pond. We're not going to use all of it, but here's where it's going in. We like to add some curves. Up here is going to be our biofalls. We got 2 drops, one that's going to slightly point towards the tennis court, and also there will be a seating area over here, but the main view is from the dining room right over there. So we're going to kind of angle it where you can enjoy it from over here, still see it from the dining room, and then twist it and drop it into the pond. We got a 7,000 gallon per hour pump, so we should be able to get some nice wide waterfalls, but also try to keep it thick where you're able to see it from a distance. Typically, we like to have 3,000 gallons per foot if we got kind of what we consider a commercial grade view where you're not right on top of the waterfalls. So we're gonna shoot for probably a 2 foot wide, 18-inch wide waterfall. Get it where it's really gushing over the rocks. Get some white water. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. So we're gonna kind of clean this area up first a little bit and then get to digging. So stay tuned. All right, well, it may not look like the hole is completed, but we cleaned up a ton over there, so we got room to work. Also, that's where our soil is going to go as we do our excavation. And we moved everything over here so we got more room. That's basically our first shelf, and it's almost 2 feet right there. But we got 4 feet to go under drain. I think tomorrow we'll see what's under this ground, if there's hard rock or we can break out pieces. But the goal is to get to 4 feet deep, so we'll see. Good morning, day 2. We're out here, just got our shelf cleaned up. We got a little bit of rain, and now we are going to be excavating down our second shelf. So yeah, turning this around, let you guys take a look at it. All right, so Zane's starting to dig out. We left a little extra space on this top shelf. There was a deep slope going this way with the grade. So what we're doing is, this first shelf here is going to be almost 2 feet. So we left some extra room coming out here so that we can not stack our rocks, but we have a little bit easier time building up to that 2 feet, because some of our rocks are, 10 inches. And so we're gonna have to kind of build our way back in an interesting sort of way. But yeah, so we're gonna get digging here. We're going down about another 10 inches here, makes it a little easier to set that shelf. And then we'll have one final shelf. Then we'll also get our under drain installed as well. All right, so hole's roughly excavated. But what we're doing now is, you can see there's a trench here. We're gonna put an under drain system in. So when we come in the spring, or if any hydrostatic pressure develops, what we're gonna do is put a big road pipe back over that way. We can stick a clean out pump in there and then drain that hydrostatic pressure. Usually what happens is the water from inside the pond, it usually doesn't develop on its own, but if you come in the spring and it's rainy, I wasn't super worried about it because we have really good, a really good grade where most of that water should run off. But just in case, when we come in for a cleaning and we start to take this water out and the pressure from the water in the pond on top of the liner if there's any water under there and it wants to bubble it out, we can drain that under drain and make sure we don't run into any issues with it wanting to shift rock or make any bubbles in the liner. Good morning, day 3, or for my Spanish-speaking employees, Trace, or Spanish-speaking watchers. Yeah, I'm trying to learn Spanish. Not going so good, but learning a little bit more. Anyway, we're back on the job site, and our hole is excavated. So we're gonna start today by putting in our under drain, our fabric, then get our liner, and more fabric on top of the liner. So should be getting rocks in and all that as well. We got a bunch of holes, so check this out. I'm going to show you what we got going on. All right, so everything's kind of roughed in right now. This is where our skimmer is going to go, directly across from the biofalls. We like to do that for circulation purposes. Jackson is finishing up with installing or cutting out the area for this culvert pipe. That is going to be where we can drop a clean out pump down in there to drain any water that is under the pond. We have our trench dug for our plumbing all the way up to where the biofalls is going to sit. So we're going to do a final sweep down of this to get any little pebbles and pieces of rock out. Then we're going to drop some fabric down in here, fill it with our gravel, a clean gravel, so it can drain, along with our 4-inch corrugated pipe. That'll allow that water to drain down into the clean out area there. Then we're gonna get the rest of our underlayment in and our liner. I'm gonna stop talking so that we can get started. This video is really for our clients that are looking at purchasing a pond, because I feel like I see a lot of videos. We just want to have a good understanding for our clients of how these things are created, the level of detail that goes into them, the amount of time that goes into them, and the things that you can really do to ensure a pond that's going to last a long time. So our underlayment's in. That is going to add some structural stability to these shelves. It's also going to protect the bottom of the liner from any sort of punctures. What we're going to do now that's a little different than when we're doing a pond that's more shallow is we're going to come back in and drop in this perforated drain tile into this trench and backfill it with gravel. So that's just our drain there. We don't do that a whole lot. This is about the first time in years we've done it, but it's almost like insurance. It's just to make sure that your pond's gonna last. If there is hydrostatic pressure, which I don't even think there will be because of the height here. The street's 6 feet below, back on the other side of those trees there. But we just wanna make sure, again, we don't have rocks shifting if there's hydrostatic pressure. If we come in to do a cleaning and remove that water, we don't want that liner to bubble up. So these are just precautionary things. You might spend a little bit more on the front side, but it's going to ensure that that pond lasts a long time and you don't really hit any hiccups in the future. All right, so we're getting our pipe buried right there. All that gravel and that pipe will be able to drain down over there. We need to put a little more fabric in just so stuff doesn't want to wash down in where the gravel is and then clogs it up over time. Then what I'm going to do is add another strip of fabric over the top of this just to get that covered up before we put our liner in. Alrighty, so we got our under drain in. We put fabric down just to separate it if we get water down in there, because what we needed to do is pad this out a little bit. So I put a piece of fabric down, some sand down, just for when we're setting boulders and gravel, that there isn't extra pressure underneath the liner from the gravel. So kind of padded this out a little bit. We're gonna do that. We don't need to do it right here because this is basically the pond edge right here. We're gonna backfill this, but we're gonna also do that just kind of right here, is cover this piece up with underlayment as well, just so that muck and mud doesn't get down in there when we backfill and clog that gravel up. Alrighty, so our liner's in. We oversized it a little bit just because the thing that you really don't want to have happening is when you're setting all these rocks, this liner to like fall into the pond, and then like little crumbles from the dirt can fall back there and possibly create some little pressure points. So we got a lot of extra over here, but our biofalls is going over here. Then we don't have to worry about doing an overlap. So biofalls will come here, fall down into the pond. Our next step is we're gonna get underlayment, and we're gonna cover all this liner up for protection when we're putting our rock and our gravel in. Alrighty, so end of day 3. Bottom of the pond's basically rocked in. Tomorrow we'll get I'm hoping to actually have the rest of this pond rocked in tomorrow. I'd say we're, I guess, 30% there. So next week then we'd be able to get this waterfall done. Christmas is gonna kind of break up our work a little bit, but I think we made really good progress today, and we're down a guy. So we're looking forward to getting back here tomorrow, and we'll have an update for you then. Until then, see you soon. Okay, so we're rocking and rolling. We've closed off some of this right around here, added some more boulders to the top. We got some conduit in for our lights, getting our more decorative gravel kind of down into the shelves where we know nothing's gonna be. That's it. Alrighty, so we got our biofalls in, some shelves for our waterfalls. Pretty much all 3 of the bottom shelves up, and then up to the top around this edge here. We just got to rock in our skimmer, come around this back edge, do our waterfalls. I think we should be able to have pretty much most of that done on Monday. And then we got a bubbling rock to hook up as well. This is a new gravel that we use. It's hard to see on the camera, but it's got like a red color to it. There's our fish cave as well. But it looks a lot better than this washed rock because that's kind of gray, kind of cheap. This just has some nice color to it. Happy Monday, everyone. We're back on the job. So this was 4 days of progress. Today we are going to start on our waterfalls so we can get our fresh creative minds going and working before we get tired. Goal is going to be to get the waterfall completed and the rest of this side of the pond rocked in today. That'll pretty much leave edge work, rinsing down the pond, a couple other little things, regrading left for us to complete tomorrow. The goal is to have it all said and done by Friday. We're taking a couple days off for Christmas, so we're gonna get rocking and rolling here. Hope you guys have a good day. All right, so end of day Monday. I guess we're on our 3rd week, but we had Christmas Eve, Christmas Day off. But yeah, pond is for the most part full, and I think tomorrow we'll for sure have it running. We're gonna have some grading work and clean up. We got to add a couple more lights, one for here and one down at the bottom of the waterfall. But what we're gonna try to do is take this big old rock over here He kind of wants a pier, so we're gonna like probably stick that right through here so it juts out and you can walk out probably over the top of that rock right there and be kind of out in the middle of the pond, which I think is going to be super cool. So yeah, anyways, that's the end of the day. Tomorrow we'll have it running, get a bunch of these edges hidden, finish off our berm. It's coming together really nicely. Again. All right, so we are back after New Year's. Our pond has cleared up. It's looking really good. So we're gonna work on finishing up this edge right here. Got some boulders over in the truck. Got to get our transformer for our landscape lights set up. We're ready to rock and roll. All right, she's all done. I think that pier turned out real nice. Got a few waterfalls in there. And then originally planned 16 by 16. It probably came out 18 by 18. It's about 4 feet deep. We got our skimmer over there with an autofill. There's our landscape lighting. We're gonna probably plant like some shrubs around that there, just to hide that box a little bit better. I'll get another video once they landscape, because they're gonna come in and like put a bunch of sod down over here. Hopefully they put some plants in up top and around the berm. But yeah, would love to hear your comments. If you like it, give us a like. And what I'm gonna do is show you guys also their main view from the house is right through that window. So check out this view from right about where their eyes will be. I know you got some distance there, but you got a nice waterfall there. And even with that pier, you can still see that water coming down right underneath it. All right, so landscaping's all done. We're just back to install a photo cell for our lights, but wanted to show off this pond. It's about an 18 by 18 by 3 foot deep pond. There's a little fish cave. You can see the fish down in there. We did about 3 waterfalls. The homeowner had a rock that was drilled out, so we hooked that up as a bubbling rock. This has one of our Biofall 6000s on it, so it'll filter up to a 6,000 gallon pond. One of our skimmer 1000s over there for catching any debris that may blow in with the trees. But this thing's looking great, crystal clear. We put this in just right about the beginning of the year / end of the year. Got a few aquatic plants in. Might talk to him about putting a few more in. Then they came in and did this patio so they could have some seating out here. And he had a couple of these big, large pieces. So we basically kind of cantilevered it out over the edge of the pond so you can get up nice and close to the fish and feed them. But yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think. I think it turned out great. And then one other thing, when we go about 3 feet deep, typically we like to put in, even with the grade, most of that water should go away from the pond. But we like to put in an under drain system. So we got one of these faux rock lids right here. And basically what we did is when we did our excavation, we ran drain tile underneath the pond. So if we get big heavy rains, when we come to clean this, basically if there's water in here, we can pump water out from underneath the pond. But right now it's looking great. It's dry. So we just like to do that as a safety precaution, just to make sure we don't run into any issues with cleanings or anything like that. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. There she is.